Well, Bill, what's happening, man?
How you doing, Congressman Rick Allen?
You know what? It's busy up here. We're cranking it out. You've probably seen a little of that Keystone action down there.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been quite interesting watching Washington, D.C. from Georgia. I drive into work every morning, and right by the IGA, there's a Rick Allen for Congressman sign still standing there after wind, after rain, after 60-mile-an-hour winds. That sucker is standing there like it was planted yesterday. So I guess a lot of people maybe subconsciously have Rick Allen on the brain. I don't know.
Yeah, well, everybody's been, let me tell you, the support has been overwhelming.
Awesome.
It has, yeah. And in fact, I was just told that we're not on the DCCC sent out their 15 targeted lists yesterday, and we were not on it. Our district was not on it. So I guess John Barrow putting his house up for sale the next day sent a message up here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like you are sending quite a few messages in Washington, D.C. I mean, you got behind the to fully repeal Obamacare. We're hearing about you reining in spending, too, trying to push that, and also the Keystone Pipeline.
Right, exactly. And, well, we get a lot of feedback on Obamacare. It's obviously hurting families. It's hurting businesses. You can't keep your doctor, you can't keep your health care plan, and your cost is going up. And so, that was an obvious. I really felt good about voting to repeal that law, and of course we sent it over to the Senate, and we'll see it. We'll put them on record because Harry Reid never let that vote happen in the Senate.
It looks like that you are involved in a couple of different things. You're a new House Education Committee. Tell me a little bit about how that's going, and tell me a little bit about this Student Success Act that's been talked about.
Well, I know more than probably anybody in this room on the Student Success Act. We had a 10-hour hearing to mark up that bill yesterday, and it was approved and will be sent to the House floor for debate and approval. Probably when we come back, we're going to be in the district next week, and when we come back from the week in the district, it'll probably hit the House floor, or at least that was the objective. And really what we're trying to do is this will replace the No Child Left Behind, which, as you know, has been very controversial. And so what we're trying to do is give more control to the state and our local boards of educations to, number one, decide who's a quality teacher, decide how to help the schools that are not where they need to be. Now, the bill does require the states to do some type of quality testing, but it's up to the states and it's up to the boards to determine what that and to what extent that should be.
One of the things that is in this bill that is going to be talked about soon in the upcoming weeks here is Title I, true Title I portability. And we've heard that before, where states are allowed to exercise portability if they want their dollars to follow students to public, private, and charter schools of their choice, empowering parents a little bit more. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that amendment came up. It was introduced yesterday, and it was actually taken off the agenda for further study. Representative Messer introduced that amendment. It was debated. We had lively debate on it, and then we decided to take that off. The chair decided to have a vote, and then Luke took it off the table. The debate was very lively. Obviously, the other side says the last thing we need to do is give tax dollars to those folks who can afford to send their children to private schools. I mean, that was their, and what we said is we think we ought to give everybody the opportunity to send their kids to private schools, and because that's the best way to help the least of these. And basically, Wild Bill, what they were trying to do was increased, is to give the Secretary of Education $30 billion to determine whether teachers are qualified, the needs of the children in the schools, and who needs help and who doesn't need help. And since Georgia did not vote for the president, I don't think Georgia would have gotten a lot of that money. But guess what? They didn't get their way. We got that thing through. It was a couple of amendments, and like I said, now it goes to the House floor for debate, and it's a good bill.
Do you think federal education mandates should be ended, and do you think we should be creating new ones?
No. We need to get the federal government out of education.
Okay, great.
I mean, particularly because, one is this one-size-fits-all business doesn't work. I mean, every state, every community is a little different. And we in our communities, we just need to be given the opportunity to help. I used in the meeting yesterday examples of all over our district where people are getting involved in education and making a difference. And, of course, the other side didn't want to hear that. I mean, sometimes I wonder if the federal government really thinks that we have the ability, the knowledge, and the resources to understand how to educate children. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I know teachers sure do. I know teachers that deal one-on-one, and I think if we give them more flexibility, they're gonna excel, and the kids are gonna be happy, and the parents are gonna be happy too.
Yeah, I made that point as well. I said, in my district, I've had one single teacher that said she wanted more money and more regulation. I mean, they're all, trying to deal with all of this regulatory compliance environment that we have with our teachers. And our colleges and universities got the same. I've had a number of colleges that have come by. I am on the subcommittee for higher education, and talk about the regulatory environment they're dealing with. Well, it's awful. I mean, this president has ramped up the regulatory environment no one has escaped it, and it's costing. And then people wonder why the cost of education is going up. Well, guess what? The federal government and the regulatory environment is what's driving the cost up. And the teachers need time to teach, and that's all they want. I think they want the federal government out of the way.
We're hearing about reauthorization about the Export-Import Bank. It has 57 co-sponsors on this in the House. It's interesting that there are no Georgia legislatures, the Republican Georgia legislatures, that are attached to this. What are your thoughts on that?
I am now attending, in fact, I attended a hearing last week in the financial services on the XM Bank, and it was interesting. I learned a lot. For something that was created to assist Russia to fight the Germans before we got into World War II, it was created for that sole purpose. And you look at what the bank's doing now. I tell you, they're a little off their original mission, and so it's very controversial. Certain of our in our business community rely on the XM Bank, but others would like to see it come to an end, and because they think it makes for some unfair competition. It is a very small piece of the total credit environment internationally, and they kind of do their own thing over there, and that's worrisome. But I'm gonna kind of keep my powder dry on that thing, learn as much as I can about it. I want to have a really kind of probably a listening session out in the district with some of our business community. I know Gulfstream, which employs a lot of our folks down in that corner of the district. Gulfstream does rely on that bank for certain credit instruments, and so I just kind of want to hear what everyone's got to say about it, and then we'll probably be voting on that sometime this summer.
We've seen a couple of past fights over amnesty and over immigration, and there was a bill that went to the House, that went through the House over to the Senate, and Senate Democrats filibustered that 3 times. We hear from some that are saying, "Oh, bring it back to the House again." What are your thoughts on this fight right now and where it stands?
Well, our speaker summed it up. We've done our work.
Yep.
Now it's time for the Senate to do theirs.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the Homeland Security funding, I think, and where we took out the provision to fund the president's overreach on immigration, and the Senate filibustered that, and they gotta figure out how to get things done over there. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Nobody wants to give the president authority to decide who's going to have a work permit in this country and who's not. I mean, it's ridiculous. And his regulatory minions. I mean, for whatever reason, the Democrats in the Senate took a hard stance on it, and I frankly don't understand it. But I'm glad at least they're on record for it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Before we let you go here, I know we're running a little bit against the clock here, Congressman Rick Allen, but tell me a little bit about agriculture. I know that you were, moments ago here before I called you, you just came out of a meeting dealing with ag. What are your thoughts on it and how it pertains to the 12th District? Well,
our meeting was on the CFT Commodity Futures Trade Commission this morning. That's a fascinating business, but I tell you what, it's also very complex. But my questions were, let's make sure that our farmers and our ranchers, number one, that their crops are worth something as far as these markets are concerned, because these folks speculate. I mean, I'll tell you, it's a big business, a huge business, and like I said, very complex. But the chairman, he heard us out and of that department, and I think that one of the things that Austin Scott said, and I agreed with him, is we needed access and we need integrity in the system. And one of the things is that they're over-regulating certain things that keeps competition out, keeps others from being players, and it just kind of gets back to a couple of the big banks being the players in those markets, and we want open competition. But it was, it took about 2 hours, and then yesterday we had hearings with the Secretary of Agriculture, and of course I asked him about what we're going to do about the price of cotton. And of course he referred to TPA and the trade issues there, so to maintain that. But my subcommittees there are timber, and of course that's good. That's good for the district. And we are went to a timber meeting of the largest companies that deal with timber in our country. And I learned a lot of interesting things about timber, and particularly the way the federal government is taking care of their forest lands. So, we're working on this situation, and I tell you, I'm encouraged. I'm really encouraged about what we're able to do.
Sounds great. Congressman Rick Allen from the 12th District, and calling right here from Baxley, Georgia. We appreciate you stopping by, and we hope to see you soon next time you're around.
Well, just do this. Tell our farmers that, our federal policy needs to keep Georgia's #1 industry growing, and that's what we're doing on the Ag Committee.
Thank you so much, Congressman Rick Allen.
Take care.